This is the question practical session of DBMS. Now I'm going to do the 10th question. And in the 10th question, I have to create a database for a central Graphically Lab Central College to store their students' data as well as teachers' data and transport data, all the things. So I have to link those tables as well. So I'm going to do it in Workbench. So I can draw an ER diagram. I'm going to open Workbench. In Workbench, I'm going to create a new module. In here, I'm going to enter the database name HeidiSQL DB DB, and I'm going to add a diagram. In here, I have to add 4 tables, which are grade, students, transport, and village. So I'm going to add 4 tables first. 2, 3, and 4. First table I'm going to name is as student, and I'm going to add the columns. First one is ID. I'm going to make it an auto increment and not null, and it's also primary key. Second column is first name underscore name. So I watch on 45, and the last name underscore name. So also watch and 45. Third column DOB. Its data type is date, and the student, and the other data will be added through foreign keys. So I'm not going to add further columns. So I'm going to create the next table, the grade table. Grade. I'm going to put an ID for it and make it an auto increment as well as primary key, and the grade name. So that is only for the grade table. I'm going to create the transport table. Transport. First, I'm going to give an ID, int, as well as auto increment, and the primary key. Transport name. Swacha and 30 length. And I'm going to give the 4th table. It's the village. I'm going to give the ID for it also. So auto increment as well as primary key. Second column is village name. I'm going to set the data length into 45 as well. So I have to make relationship between those 4 tables. In here, one student will. In here, many students will have many grades as well as the transports and the villages. So I'm going to create many-to-many create relationship between all the tables. Like I said, we can take the remaining columns through those relationships. So I'm going to, that is the requirement of our question. Now I'm going to forward engineer. Next, and the next. Then I'm going to close it. So my database is now HeidiSQL DB, and here I'm going to add data. Refresh HeidiSQL DB. Here's our tables. I'm going to add the data for it. I'm going to first add village data. First in here I have village. I'm going to add the village name for the view. Then Gunawardana. Madavachi. another watch and මිහින්තලේ නොච්චියාගම පළු ගැස්සේ So I'm going to enter the rest of data. Okay, now I have added all the data for the tables, like all the tables. So now I'm going to do this section. Select all the students who study in grade 6. I have used join queries. I'm going to enter the query. I'm going to enter select. I'm going to just enter all from I have to select the first table, student table, which is student, and use the inner join to the I have to use the grade to grades table. Grade, I have to give the columns to inner join on. In here student ID table, students grade ID equals grade dot ID. So that is the inner join query. So I'm going to show you. Select all from student inner join grade on students grade ID equals grade ID. So now I'm going to execute the query. So likewise, I got the all students inner joined data with grade ID. Now I'm going to specify the grade now, where grade dot grade name equals 6. I have to find the grade 6 students. I'm going to execute the query now. So I have only got the grade 6 students data in here. We have only 2 students in grade 6. Guys, grade students here, grade 6 students. So, and the second one, I have to select birthdays of the students who came from other year and also by bus. So we can use a join query, not a join query, we can use a sub query here. I'm going to select the ID from. I have to find the villages of the students. So I'm going to select the ID from the student from the village table. From village, the where village name equals Padaviya. Capital P. I'm going to execute the query. In here I got the ID for the Padaviya one, and I'm going to now find the select the ID from the transport table. Transport table where the transport name equals by bus, the only bus. I'm going to execute the queries. Now I got the village ID 1 as well as the bus ID also 1. Now I'm going to enter the students query. Select all. I need to select the birthdays of the students. So I'm going to enter the DOBs. DOB from student where students ID. I have to find the village ID. In here where student village ID underscore ID equals in brackets. I have to enter the village query. and I have used the end function and the transport ID equals brackets. I have used the second query. So this is the query for the second one. I'm going to execute the query now. So I got the date of birth of the students who are coming from Padavi as well from the bus. Let's see. So the bus ID is 1, where the 1 transportation method and village is 1 there's two students. So their date of birth 7/14 and 3/12. So that's the second one. The third one, select names of the students who study at grade 9 and come from Meentale on foot. So we have to use 3 subqueries in here. We can just change this query as well. I have to use Meentale in here. Meentale, and I have to change the transportation method by foot. So thus I have to add another query, select ID from grade, where grade ID, grade name equals grade 9. No, grade 9. Yes, grade 9. So this is the third one. So I have to use in here another AND function, and grade underscore ID equals, in brackets, the query. So in here I use equal marks in all the places because there will be only one result in all the subqueries. Okay, now I'm going to execute the query. So when I execute, I got one answer. So that is the answer for this query, and that is it for the 10th question.